Yo guys, what is up? It's Teach here, coming at you again with another video, and we are on the Dino a Day review series. We are finally on to probably one of my favorite dinos. Now, this is the Triceratops. It is one of my favorites because 1, easy to raise, 2, easy to tame, 3, probably one of the most useful dinos in the entire game. Now, let's talk about why. Now, it's pretty easy, actually. You notice that it's got an orange buff around its head. Now, this is very, very, very important. Whenever there is a enemy dino, or dino that is not yours, that is a large dino, or considered a large dino, the Triceratops get a damage reduction, which is an awesome ability for PvP, or even really for PvE purposes. They can pretty much soak just about anything. Obviously, a Giganotosaurus, not going to work very well, but there are worse things. Now, health-wise, what's pretty standard for these things? Now, what you really want to aim for is you want your Triceratops to probably have more than 22,000 health. Now, that is not that hard to accomplish, just so we're all clear. It's pretty easy, actually. It's on a lot of official servers. I know some of these Triceratops are getting into, like, if it's not over 100 at this point, I'd be amazed. But I mean, this is pretty standard for Triceratops, nothing super special. Once you get above 21,000 health, veggie cakes do a percentage heal instead of just a in general heal, and that's something that's pretty important. So, alright, so what are we going to do here? Now, the Triceratops, and you'll notice in the upper right corner, you got that boost, and that's because there's a large dino nearby. Now, for PvE purposes, it's actually pretty simple with the Triceratops. 1, they are really good at gathering berries. This is on 1 times. I have not leveled this thing's up, his melee up at all. This is a standard 1 swing trike. And yes, I did just gather that many berries. This is Ragnarok's, what do they want to call it? The berry field, whatever you want to call it. It's pretty simple. You just take a swing, and a Bronto is probably the best thing you can have. But nonetheless, it gathers a very nice amount of berries. It gathers just as much as a Bronto and all those things. It just doesn't have a very big swing radius. So it doesn't have that ability to gather a ton of berries, and its weight's not very good either. So, how do you really use this thing? Now, first and foremost, veggie cakes are your best friend. Once you use veggie cakes on this thing, what'll happen is he'll actually gain health back, over a percentage of his health back over about 30 seconds, and then he'll open it up for the next cake to be eaten, and that's kind of how they work. It's pretty easy, actually. And that's just kind of how veggie cakes work. So if you've never used veggie cakes before, they save your tames, especially if they are losing health quickly. Now, obviously, he gathers berries really well. He's got another attack that a lot of people forget about that make him an early game monster. Now, if you charge up his right click with him, he'll charge forwards and smack trees for quite a bit of thatch. Notice 142 thatch. He's actually pretty good at gathering thatch. All things being considered, not too shabby, and that's kind of just how they are. So PvE, they're pretty useful. They are very easy to take on tames with. Nothing super difficult about it. They can pretty much shred whatever you want them to. As long as you're not trying to take on a Giganotosaurus, most Triceratops will be able to pretty much take out any wild tame. Maybe not a Bronto, because Bronto's going to knock you back, but because they have a very high attack rate, I can sit here and just click, 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 and it'll knock back just about anything I want it to. I don't even care about those veggie cakes. And you'll pretty much be able to shred anything you feel like it. Now, that's not even the most important part. So we're going to go ahead and show you what the really awesome part about Triceratops is. Now, realistically speaking, most people don't have their turrets set to wilds only, and these turrets are set to wilds only. So what you do to counter this is get a whip out, go into orbital mode and look down, and you will actually hide yourself inside the saddle of this thing, so it's very difficult to get shot off. But I have these things set to only hit the trike. Now, this is where it really makes the trike amazing, because they will sit and soak for days, and all you gotta do, toss some veggie cakes on him, and you can see he's got 32k health, he's healing. If I do that, look how much he heals. 40 per what? Maybe 100 per second? Yeah, that's pretty solid. So, anyways, and now let's imagine that you've got an imprint to this. You've got your large dino nearby boost. You've got a mate boost behind you. You're taking almost 0 damage. I'll go ahead and sit here on this. There you go. So, just so you can see, as long as I'm sitting here soaking with the head, it's 9 damage a shot. And this is on a primitive saddle. Now, if I rotate and I'm not taking damage to the head, it's 65. Now, 9 damage per shot on an auto turret is amazing, especially considering I didn't even have a saddle on him. So we're going to go ahead and put on a good saddle. Now, a lot of official tribes, unofficial tribes have really good trike saddles, and it greatly reduces the damage taken. Now, you can see it right now, 3 damage per shot, no boost, no wyvern imprint. I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like too. Not wyvern imprint, large dino nearby boost. There's a whole bunch of things you could do better than what I'm doing right now. This is why people use these Triceratops in raids pretty much exclusively nowadays, because they can soak so many bullets, they almost out-heal tons and tons of turrets at the same time. Alright, so there's the boost, unclaimed. You'll notice I get that boost nearby. We're going to go ahead and move forwards. Still taking that 3 because it's a fraction of the percentage. So you can see that basically what you can do, soak all day. Now I've just soaked every bullet that one had, but what you can do, and a lot is very popular, if there's only 1 or 2 turrets down, one person will just run up and sit like right here. Another person will drop C4. And you back up a little bit, blow up the turret, and you're good to go. Now this is a heavy auto turret. This one does a lot more damage, 4 times technically, but look at that. So because I have that boost nearby, you can see it takes heavy reduced damage from an auto turret at 11 damage a shot. That's not very much. You can literally out-heal this with your veggie cakes. Now notice how I'm going up at the same rate that I'm taking damage? Yeah, that's actually what happens. Triceratops are amazing for that purpose. They're probably the best soaking dino in the game. Some people like to use turtles, but you cannot sit on the back of the turtle. You kind of got to whistle them around. So that's kind of problematic for turtles. But the trike is by far the most capable, I think, because you can look in certain areas, you can climb up things. Now, the one thing that's negative is you can't get hit on the side of the back because you will literally get shredded right just into oblivion. So as long as you're facing the turrets, it is really hard to take out a Triceratops. Now, I'm going to go ahead and back up so you can see here. Yes, that Stego is about to go attack this turret, or at least attempt to. He is going to sit here and do what he can, and that's just lovely. Thank you so much. So this is a tech turret. Now, a lot of people especially newer players, get really scared about tech turrets. The Triceratops doesn't even think about tech turrets. I could literally sit here, hop off of this, and he will get pissed off and go after it. But just to prove my point, I could just do this. So with a Triceratops, he will sit here and soak this all day. I don't need to be on his back to get the imprint bonus for this one, but look at this. He is out healing a tech turret. Now, the Triceratops is an absolute PvP machine. If you didn't know that ahead of time, well, first off, you probably haven't been playing too much PvP, which is fine. I enjoy PvP as well. But these things are just absolute monsters. Now, the Triceratops obviously has this value. It can soak 4 days. You can probably soak 10, 15 turrets and out-heal them with a good Triceratops at the same time. And maybe even more depending on what your goal is, but it depends on what you want. As soon as you turn sideways, though, you're in big trouble. But the Triceratops is probably one of the most important tames in the game. Just for the value of PvP, it has that just crazy ability to get a load of flowers. It's got that thatch ability. It's got pretty, starter tame wise, it's certainly up there because it's a great defensive tame. It'll fight off just about anything. And it's got knockback, so you can just sit in one spot and knock something into oblivion. Raptors will still take you off the back side of it, which kind of sucks. But overall, the Triceratops is probably one of the most all-around useful tames in the game because obviously super easy to get a hold of them because they're in all the beginner areas. They're very useful because their raising period is like 2 days, something super short like that. So it takes no time to raise them and get new eggs. Leveling up their health to be able to use them in the long term with PvP purposes. It's one of the few tames in the game that's not only useful the second you start, but no matter how long you play this game, the Triceratops is still useful. There's a lot of tames that are like great to start out, like the Beaver. Super awesome to start out, but then you get their Xenos. There's, just an amazing range, I think is the nicest way to put it. I'll go ahead and show you the knockback ability that the Triceratops has. But see that? So I can just sit here all day and just absolutely obliterate whatever I need to. Now he's not very fast and he loses stamina pretty quickly, so that's kind of crappy. But outside of that, the Triceratops, early game use, late game use, pretty much whatever you needed to get accomplished, it'll do it for you. So anyways, hopefully this video helps you out. I really do. And if you haven't tamed a Triceratops before, go tame one. They're probably my favorite for long-term purposes. And other than that, teach.